Hello, everybody. Did you hear the canary chirping yet in the coal mine? I sure hope so if you're a bull. Welcome to the closing bell here at MarketStream.live. My name is Joe Cusick from the Cusick Group, securities offered by MoneyBlock. We're going to wrap up today's action, and there was quite a bit of action. As I said, that canary in the coal mine, that's what I call my barometer of potential ominous things on the forefront, is that Russell 2000, and that led the market to the downside today. Now, overall, the market did finish the day in the red, but off of its worst level. So we did see a bounce going into the close after what looked ugly in the morning, a little bit better in the midday, and definitely improved. You have the Dow Jones closing down about 0.3% at 19,891. Now, to put this into context, it settled today right on its bullish trend line, that short-term moving average, the 20-day moving average that I watch to keep an eye on that short-term trend. And that short-term trend line is right now at 19,889. A break there is going to put this short-term trend into question, especially if it happens with volume on the Dow Jones. NASDAQ closed at 5,547.50 cents, down almost 0.3%. Right now, it's still well above that short-term trend average that I watched, that 20-day moving average. That gives me, again, an idea of whether or not the bulls are still in control. As far as the NASDAQ concerned, they are in control. That level comes in at 54.78. Until that's broken, this trend is still in play. The S&P 500 closed in the I'm looking at the cash index today at 2270 and 44 cents. That's down about 0.2%. Watch on the S&P's 2262. A break on the SPX, on that cash settled index, that could put the short-term trend on the S&P's in question as well. And the Russell 2000, that was the biggest laggard of the day. That's my canary in the coal mine. It actually bounced off of its worst levels, finished today at 1,359.10 cents, down almost 1.1%. The critical level that you're going to want to watch retake, and if the bulls still have control in the short term, is going to be 1367 on the RUT. If they don't get a control of that, then watch 1325. That's going to put the total short-term and intermediate-term trends on alert. And I'm going to watch those levels very closely. Now, the action came on mixed volume. On the New York Stock Exchange, we actually had lighter volume than normal. Only about 790 million shares traded versus an average of 870 million. The NASDAQ was in line with its averages of right around 1.7 billion. You also saw decliners outpacing advancers in front of now the earnings announcements that's going to be kicking off for the remainder of the next month and a half, both on the New York and the NASDAQ. And you saw new highs still outpacing new lows, both on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. So definitely some mixed action. Where did we see, though, relative strength today? We saw it in some industrial metals. Specifically, we saw it in copper. JJC was up 2.9%. And as I said yesterday, if you see strength in copper, that's a good indication that there is still strength in the underlying tone of growth. If you can continue to see these industrial metals moving to the upside, that's a positive. It could be an advance, too, of the fact that we're going to have the inauguration of President-elect Trump, and we're going to start hearing more about what their fiscal stimulus policies and infrastructure policies and projects are going to be. U.S. Nat Gas, UNG, was up about 2.61%. Obviously, the weather has been impacting that. It's been colder here in the Midwest, and we continue to see that across the nation. We're going to watch. We did see some mixed reports as far as the EIA reports, and so we'll watch that very closely. Base metals, as I noted, with copper also increasing, DBB up 2.5%, and we also had grains on the upside. Take a look at JJG, which tracks things like soybeans, corn, and wheat. That was up 1.9%. What was weak, though, was financials, as well as precious metals. We saw regional banks KRE is the regional bank ETF. Take a look at that. Showing some weakness in regional banks. We talked about regional banks in Tech Talk yesterday. Go back and check that out. But KRE was down 1.6%. And we also had the overall financial or banking sector down 1.3%. Take a look at KBE, and that's in front of earnings for the big banks. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. The Provident Financial Services ETF, PFS, down 1.5%. We also started to see some weakness in metals and mining. XME was down 1.4%. We also saw that the junior gold miners, GDXJ, down 1.33%. We're going to watch GDXJ very closely. That could be the canary in the coal mine for gold. Gold was relatively flat. It has been on a tear to the upside as of late. If we start seeing weakness in the junior gold miners, that could be a precursor for potential weakness in gold. But again, we're going to watch that very closely. Also on the international front, I want to say this in advance of the overnight action report that we're going to be doing tomorrow morning at 8:30 Eastern Time. We said watch Hong Kong. Hong Kong is actually moving to the upside. EWH is the ETF that we watched to watch Hong Kong. It was, it was down 1.56%. Again, we talked about this morning. There is some question about some of the gaming names out of Macau, as well as some of the property names. There's a lot of pressure on the fact that rating agencies believe that the Chinese have allowed lending and practices, so forth, to kind of expand a lot faster than they can control. We're going to watch that very closely, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Again, taking a look at the financial sector and what's on the forefront, we have major banks coming out tomorrow morning before the open. So I want to talk about the big three: JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America. Now, we dug into those at Tech Talk last night, so take a look at that. But JP Morgan Chase finished the day down 84 cents at 86.24. Right now, going into the earnings tomorrow morning, the options are pricing in the potential range of $1.70 on this $86 stock. That means that you could see it as high as almost $88 and as low as 84 and some change. That's a 2% move that's being priced into just this earnings event. Wells Fargo, ticker symbol WFC, finished the day down 30 cents, so nothing huge. This $54.50 stock has a range of about 2.23% being priced into the event tomorrow morning. That's just for one day, so that's $1.25. And Bank of America, BAC, finished the day down 15 cents, not negative whatsoever, just basically mute to down. It's trading at 22.92. The options are pricing in for a one-day move of 3.1% in this almost $23 stock. That means that you could see it as high as $23.70 or as low as $22 tomorrow going into the event. Anything beyond those levels that I just gave you means that there was something extremely negative, and you're starting to see moves that weren't anticipated or priced in, or in other words, you're going to start to see volatility rear its head into the markets. All right, folks, that's it for right now for the closing bell. We'll be back online tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Time with all the overnight action. We'll also be covering at 8:45 Europe. And then at 9:30, we're going to be taking a look at the market open, and we'll cover these stocks and many more. We'll see you here at MarketStream.live. Take care.